really sure. Oh, we're using my Mac. We've been using my Mac for the last couple times, so we don't have to crowd into a microphone. But I couldn't figure out if it had started or not. But at any rate, welcome.
Welcome. I'm gathering that it has started from.
It looks like the lines are showing that it started. So here we are.
Well, then here we are.
It's another episode of Thoughts Explored, previously known as we fall asleep.
I was going to say what we do in the shadows, but that's a movie.
That's a
entirely
program.
different.
Well, and that's a program that we watch, right?
I love that one.
Yeah. So today, I mean, it has been a couple of months. It has been a week. It has been a day. It has been an hour. It's been a moment. It just continues.
It's been really, boy, busy in such a mind-boggling way at times. Really since the pandemic overtook us, which was that like mid-March when everything here started just closing down seemingly overnight,
March, and then, other things I think started piling onto that. So I think if you weren't already exhausted just by everything that was going on prior to the pandemic, the pandemic was kind of a nice little retreat. But now there still seems to be more. So
I don't know that the pandemic was considered a retreat for many people. Were not.
When I say retreat, I don't mean it like I'm at a spa. I mean like you are in retreat. You are in in seclusion. Maybe seclusion is the word. Well, what I want to talk about today is this idea, and I personally think that there's a lot of problems that spring out of this idea that we are all separate and we are not in many ways, I think, functioning as a community, as a society, in collaboration and in cooperation and in harmony with each other. So that's kind of what that's the thought I wanted to explore today. So I just came home after being drenched in a walk with Shanti and kind of sprung this topic on Lex. So I don't know that she's had a whole lot of time to gather her thoughts.
Well, I think that, we have touched on this before, if not on our podcast, then even just in conversation, Chris, you and I, with that separateness and separate from our own selves, separate from other people in our community, separate from our environment, and how alienating that feels.
Yeah, and I think so. For some of you, you might be saying, "Whoa, ho, wait a minute." We are different people. We are individuals. I think my point is more so that if we really had the understanding, and I say the collective we, if we really had the understanding that we are connected, then I don't think there would be the killing that goes on. I don't think there would be the torture that goes on because we would understand we're doing that to ourselves. Every time we, think hateful thoughts or have hateful words to say for people. I mean, all of those things are just they're going to come back. I think they're going to come back. So the idea of thinking about things on a more the word that keeps coming into my mind is cosmic, but I also think community, collaborative, all of those things that really evoke a lack of competition. I know that's going to be a bizarre thing to
absence of competitiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
we shouldn't be really competing for resources. We should be sharing resources. Just coming even from the background of business and corporations, you find that when you get more collaboration, you have a more highly functioning um, department, group, uh, whatever you want to call it. It's higher functioning than when everybody's out for themselves and then just trying to, make the race for number one. So, uh, to me, when I think about oneness and not buying into this thing, that also brings me to why we have these issues with race relations. Um, if we identified and were able to see each of us and everybody else, I kind of think what's surfacing, because this all of this stuff has not just started. This has been going on for a long time. It is now coming to the surface and to our consciousness. It has been submerged and willingly forgotten, willingly sanitized, willingly um, not talked about.
Swept under the rug, as it were.
Yes.
Convenient for many.
Yeah. And so I think that what we find with that is that when we sweep it under the rug, we're not dealing with anything. And the issue becomes even larger. And it becomes, I think, even more shocking when it's up and being examined. And I hear a lot of, I can't believe this, or this is 2020. Yes, it's 2020. And yes, these same things are still happening because we as a society have never dealt with it the way we should have dealt with it. So
it's like having a wound that has healed over, but it's abscessed.
It's healed over, and then somebody, it hasn't. I mean, I would almost say maybe it's not even completely healed, because when I think of healing, I think of, okay, all of the work has been done.
Then a wound that's covered over. It's covered itself over.
You've got like a primary covering.
Right, but there's abscess underneath it, so it really isn't, it doesn't have any opportunity to heal until you open it and clean it, debride it,
Yeah.
That's just my old nursing talk, filter bubbling up to the top there for just a brief moment.
So what have you been thinking about during this time, if you had to apply the idea of, we are connected?
Well, one of the things that is the most challenging to me with that idea, which I do in theory agree with very much so, but with these times where things are so insanely politically, emotionally, polarized, it seems so polarized that it's hard for me to, sorry.
Go ahead. Your straw is just clinking, but you can have that.
I'll just set my tea aside. I don't want to be considered one.
You don't want to be in the pool
with certain people. And
right.
So I don't want to face my union or unity with 45. I don't want to face my
Oh, I know.
So, because I rail fiercely against that, as many people do.
Yes, and
however,
I
that's the challenge for me.
I totally understand.
It's a huge challenge for me, because it's like you cannot possibly put me in that group of them, they over there with a capital TH.
Yeah.
And so that's my ongoing challenge, particularly when things get really polarized, like they are right now.
Yep.
Like everything, every word you use, every personal decision to use a mask, to not use a mask, to, it's just like insane with the blame and the shame on both sides. It's so desperately polarized that it's hard to remember. And I think a really valuable thing that you're bringing up to let go, but that's just another aspect of myself.
It is.
You know, it's like the shadow self and the light self. It's just another aspect of our own selves. And that's what we have to face and deal with, that other aspect of our own self that we want to go, oh, that certainly isn't me.
That's just, or that
I
isn't
wouldn't
me,
have- yeah.
or that happened once, or this, that, or the other.
Mhm.
And I think just having, you're right, it's that awareness, and you know, having that darkness illuminated and dealing with it. I think there are aspects of that in all of us. I mean, we are, I think, multifaceted human beings.
And
No
then if
doubt.
we were going to take the next step to make the correlation right, in theory, the people that we desperately don't want to be lumped in with or have anything, you know, that recognition that they are us, should, in theory, be also having those same thoughts about us.
It should be
you know.
reversed.
It should be reversed.
It should be reversed.
Why do I doubt sometimes that it is? But
what we're seeing is a whole lot more denial, but I feel like when that all of the denial happens is when it's really going to come up more to the surface. I mean, that's when you're going to see more of it. And then there's that crescendo, and then it boils over, and then things are, I think, really seen for what they are. And then that's when the healing really starts. So I'm sad to say that I don't think that we're toward the end of this.
no, and I think that there's a big paradigm shift afoot.
Yeah.
And I think that neither side is going to concede, you know, graciously. I mean, I know that the expansive higher frequency is what I want to be the primary thing.
Yeah.
But that, you know, and sort of wash away, or like you said, like shine the light.
Yeah.
But that darker side is not going to go without a fight.
No. And I think
That darker side, and when I say that, I mean like in all of us individually,
Yep.
or by state, or by neighborhood, or by, you know, all of those,
yeah.
in all of those different levels.
It's been so, I think, entrenched and integrated into everything. I mean, when you just, you know, people are all upset because some statues are being torn down. If you think about it in another way, were people who were terrorized by some of these monuments, and they have to go and walk past these things every day. I mean, they're just
like
symbols.
just to get into a courthouse, or
Yeah.
just to get into their library.
It's
or-
just
yeah.
you're supposed to go there for justice. I mean, it's just symbols of just symbol upon symbol, and that is the indoctrination, the I'm make up a word now, ingranation. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. It is just, and that I think is why people are not. They're still asleep. They're still not aware, because it is just so embedded in our society,
in our normal day to
in
day
our
life.
normal day to
Yeah.
day. And so the bell is ringing right now, and we're just like, no, this is not normal. Look at this. Look at this. And there's a lot of looking at this, and I encourage everybody to really look at it and not to look away. That's what we've been doing now for a couple of centuries, at least in the United States. So it's time to look at it, and it's time to heal it, and it's time to be who we are really supposed to be, and that's loving beings, and not beings that are with an absence of love, full of hate, and all of the other things. So that's all I have to say about that. Lex?
Well, that about sums it up. I think, and part of that being loving and integrated people is having those difficult conversations with ourselves and with each other, because as we just were saying, ourselves and each other are one and the same.
Well, yes. I feel like
in that bigger
yeah,
picture. Obviously,
Yep.
I fully support all of our wonderful individualisms
Yes.
and such. That's not taking that away
No.
at all.
No.
It's more just in a
we need that.
larger way of thinking about it.
Yep, we need those individual things, those purposes to contribute to the greater good and the higher purpose. Absolutely. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, wow, I like that. I think that was a good.
I had fun doing this one.
I think that was a good conversation, and I hope it's thought provoking. I hope it reaches more people than our ones. I hope we continue along with this.
Yeah.
And we'll keep you posted on what we're doing and how we're doing, and
yeah,
we send our love and gratitude and
gratitude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just had a funny thought. We could totally like publish outtakes.
we
Like all
totally
of the
could.
conversations that we literally have just here.
We totally
when we're
could.
not taping, but we talk in our house all the time. Chris and I do about such things and other things.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you. Thanks for tuning in.
Ciao.
Bye.